One, and it was so nice. Um, anyways, seems like I'm stuck with this. So, things we want to talk about, guys. You all know in the market, our market maker method is very simple. We expect a consolidation, second level, and then we expect a third level. I'm sure everyone is aware of this now. All right. So now I need I need to get a lot of questions regarding this because the more questions I get, the more it becomes easier for me to actually help you wherever you've got gray areas. And one thing I can always say to you is that every strategy that you know out there will never work everywhere. There are some places where some strategies might not work. There are some places where some strategies might work. And you have to be smart. And by smart, I mean you need to be very selective, choose what you want to trade, and go off that route. Don't just, trade anything that comes your way because you saw a chart. Sometimes you look at a chart and you're like, I don't get this. And no offense, if you don't get it, move on to the next chart. There's so many pairs to trade. Or if you're only trading, maybe say 2 or 3 pairs only, and you seem not to understand them, then just let it be. Leave it for the day. And because you can't see a setup and wait until the next day or any other time until a setup comes. It's all about patience. It's a game of patience, guys. So like you saw last week, I only traded GPP card and USD MXN, only those two for the whole week because I was waiting for those setups to turn up. So I can send 5 to 10 setups, whatever the number, but my focus, I will only look for that one on or those two that I can put my money on and get a profit out of them. So that's how you have to narrow down. Like, look at Madam Jokemi. She only loves Audi USD, and that's it for her. If Audi USD doesn't show her setup, she'll just let it be. So that's good, you know, discipline in the forex market. She's just looking after all the USD. Anything that has to do with all the USD, that's her. And if it doesn't show a setup, that's it. That's exactly how you need to do it. You need to narrow down your search and it will keep everything tight. The reason why I look at all pairs in the market, it's because all of you trade different things. So if I focus on only one thing, say maybe I only focus on Euro USD, then that means everybody will be forced to trade Euro USD. But that's not what I want. I want people to be free to choose whatever pair they want. So if they ask me, I can then assist them with that pair. But I won't trade the pair because I don't trade everything. I only trade something that I can see and say, okay, this I like. And for me, anything that has to do with GPP card, Euro GPP, um, maybe a bit of Euro card, those minor pairs, NZD, USD, those are my kind of pairs, those minor pairs. And the major pairs, Euro USD, GBP USD, sometimes I trade them, but not all the time. And that's just who I am. So you'll see most of the times I'll always say, oh, I'm in this pair or I'm taking this pair because I'm only focusing on the minors. I love the minors because they always react based on what the majors are doing. But yeah, you need to be very selective in the market. And if there is no setup, it means there is none. And if it means waiting for the setup, then you have to wait for the setup. So that's point number one. Point number two, I need you to mark charts in a way that they show that you're actually learning something. This is gonna help me if you wanna ask something and I can look at your chart and be like, okay, this is what they are saying. So I'm gonna say this, if it is possible, um, don't analyze using your phone. If it is possible. If it is not possible, fair and fine. Don't force it. If you don't have access to a laptop at that particular moment, still okay. Don't force it. But if it is possible, analyze with your PC. Always use a PC. It gives you so much clarity. That's why you see most of, in fact, all of my setups that I share, they are from a PC. Reason being, I sit down and I look at the PC, and that's where I analyze. I do take my trades via the phone, but the analysis has to come from the PC. If I don't analyze from the PC, then there's no trade. And remember, I once shared the video of how I lost one of the trades simple because I analyzed with my phone and I was just about to go to bed and I saw this setup. I'm like, yeah, I'm taking this one. And the next thing, it was catastrophic because I use my phone. And but if you don't have a phone, again, it's okay. You don't have it. Sorry, if you don't have a PC, there's nothing you can do about it. But if you have a PC or you have a chance to sit down and be on your PC, then don't use your phone. Just use your PC. All right. So, like I said, I'm going to show you how you should mark your charts. And let me just quickly share my screen. It doesn't matter if it closes this. And I show you something. All right. I don't know if you all can see my screen. So I'll show you this. You can see this chart is marked. You can see I was actually anticipating a buy to form here, and the market is actually buying. This is not analysis. I'm trying to put through a certain point, and this is where I was roughly expecting where price will get to, and that's somewhere around close there. Um, you see all these marks areas where I was actually marking that this will do this, and look at what it's done, you know. I sit down on my computer and look at all these things and I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I expect the market to do. And I'm happy if it does that because it's doing exactly what I want. And sometimes if it doesn't go my way, then I look at it and say, okay, what exactly happened? Look at all this. This is all what I anticipate in the market. And I sit down and look at it and be like, okay, I want this market to do this. Look at all this. And that's what you need to do. You don't need to trade everything, but find that time to actually analyze the market and just leave your marks there in the market. Look at all that. Leave your marks there and let the price move. It will show you, number one, not just how good you are, but it will show you how you are actually absorbing knowledge and learning. And if it doesn't go your way, probably you need to find out why. You actually need to find out why. You know, look at all that. This is jump 75, a setup that I gave, and this is how it moved. I gave this setup when the market was here. And this is all how it has moved. And now I'm anticipating that the market has to go down. You know, you need to mark your charts. And this is where I was anticipating that it should drop off from, and it did extend a little bit further. You know, now I need to find out why did it extend further? What's going on? So mark your charts and leave them marked like this. It helps you to know what's going on. It will increase your knowledge. The more you do it, the more you increase it. Even things that you don't trade, just for out of curiosity, just mark it and leave it as is. This is gonna help you. Look at all that. I know someone could have said, oh, okay, I'm actually anticipating the market because it has formed a peak. I'm anticipating the market to continue buying from here. But look at what I expected. I expected a sell instead, you know, because I saw something somewhere and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm expecting this market to sell. And there was a big W and an ID50 here, which the market could have just bought, but I expected it to sell. So it did sell. That means the analysis that I made was right. So I'm happy about that, you know? And things like this, you see, this is all the charts that I mark. And if I can do this, then you should be able to do it. Look at all that. I'm showing you that this is level 3 and this is my push 1, my push 2, my push 3, and this is my level 1, push 2. This is my level 2, and I'm anticipating the market to go up and then go down. And that's exactly what the market did. And I'm not saying this is a setup that you should enter right now. I don't know, but that's my analysis. And if I go to the 15 minutes time frame, that's exactly what I did. Look at that there. I can even add moving averages and say 50, 200 crossover, 50, 200, 800 crossover, 1350 crossover, what they signify. All those things, you can play around them, but mark your charts, make them clear. So if you send any setup or you've got any pay that you're thinking about, this is how I want it to be done. I can't force you to do it because some people might be busy and then they see a setup and say, oh yeah, that looks like a sell. I can't force you to do it, but I'm encouraging you that this is how you should be able to mark your charts. It will make everything clean for you, and it's not gonna help me who will view the chart, but it will help you instead. It's for your own good. I don't know if anyone can hear me or you understand me or I'm just waffling or whatever, but if you understand
Yeah,
me,
we
just
understand you,
let me know
coach.
in the chat space. Yeah.
Yeah, we keep
So this,
Yeah,
yeah,
coach. Let me
yes,
first of
yes.
all appreciate and let me, on behalf of every one of us, we are very sorry
Mm-hmm.
because for you to come out this massive, believe that you are angry a little bit, and it's because you want us to do better. That is why you are doing this for us. And
Mm-hmm.
please, on behalf of everybody, and on behalf of myself mostly because I don't want people to say, why will you say on behalf of everybody? So I'm very sorry, and we will try to improve more. And number one
Mm-hmm.
thing that I would like us to buttress more is, which I believe that it might be affecting other people, is that peak formation.
Mm-hmm.
There are sometimes, like look at GBP USD, we have marked a
Mm-hmm.
break, it now went up, most especially gold, it marked, and also GBP CHF especially, it marks,
Mm-hmm.
and we are expecting it to go down. And it got to the
Mm-hmm.
place, it came back, and it now still went to and pull back to the beginning of the peak formation. All those kind of a
Mm-hmm.
thing is what, so that it can help the psychology of many of us. Like somebody like
Mm-hmm.
me, maybe because I've built a resistance against loss, so I don't feel it, even though when it hits me hard, I don't feel it
Mm-hmm.
again because it's already part of me. So that is all I just want to demand on my home part and on behalf of people that are having the same issue with that. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. No, no, that's a good observation. So, all right, let's get right straight into it, and then from there we'll jump into the charts. Okay, so you need to understand that higher time frames, they will never behave the same way as smaller time frames do. All right. So this is just in something that you need to observe in the market. When you have H1 doing something like this, and you should always know that H4 is doing something like this and D1 is doing something like this. There is never a period whereby you see an M on H1, sorry, and also see an M on H4. The only way that can happen is when H1 spans so many days forming its M, like what happened to GPP card. If it spends so many days, maybe say a span of 4 days, making an M, that's the only way you can see a 4-hour time frame with a very nice information there. So if H1 moves like this, then H4 is actually a V, and D1 simply means it hasn't moved. So um it takes H1 to actually form something like this, for H4 to have something like that, and for D1 to have something like that. So the more you add M's, the more H4 adds as well. Maybe if let's say another W, it will go like this. And another M again, it will come like this. And then your HD1 will just move just once. So that's what happens. It's the time frame blending that we always talk about all the time. You need to keep in check with your higher time frames. Say, for instance, you have um W1 or D1 as a buy. Maybe let's say there's a peak formation right there, and then the market goes up and the market comes back down there, and then the market is right here. And then you see on your H4 that you have suddenly finished your, okay, pretend this is a peak formation on H4. I know it's actually way bigger than this, but pretend it's a peak formation from here. And then it moves 1, 2, 3, and then it moves probably 1, 2, 3, and then it forms like that, and it stops right there. So that means your H1, which is starting from here, not from the first leg, but from the second leg, will have 1, 2, 3, reset, 1, 2, 3, reset, 1, 2, 3, reset. Sorry, not reset, but peak. And then 1, 2, 3, again, the same thing, 1, 2, 3, until it gets to more or less the same levels as that. And then it probably forms a peak formation. So that becomes a peak, and probably this would be a reset because the cycle here is shorter as compared to the one on the true trend. So you are getting a setup like this one, right? Now, let's just say before that setup, in the market, you actually want to trade from here to there, okay? So you know for sure that probably you're supposed to come to your neck or whatever, any price point that you're expecting or previous peak or whatnot, and you want to trade from here to there. So clearly that means this is a sell, right? But on this time frame, the market is still a buy. Keep that in mind. The market is still a buy. But in this instance, on your H4 time frame, you want to sell from here to there. And this is a whole level. So probably that means this is a whole cycle on H1. Um, so you're probably maybe forming a reset, all right? So on this other side, you wanna trade from here. No, no, no. You wanna trade, yeah, maybe from here to there again, because you are coming from a peak and going all the way down. So as you trade your H1, you need to continuously keep check off your D1, because this is what's gonna blow your account or take your stop loss or whatsoever, simple because you are enjoying what you're seeing here, but you're not keeping check of that. And sometimes the dealer can issue those three levels, and those three levels being these three levels on H4. Remember what I've said, that sometimes your levels on H1 may be so clear and defined in such a way that they are also H4 levels, right? Just by those clear pushes, such that they are H4 levels. Sometimes they do put their levels, all three levels here. sometimes they make all those three levels to become one level. We'll look at that also in the chart. So having seen that, now you trade in mind knowing that whatever I'm doing, there is a price point to reach to, and I need to keep check of my pay. Now, if you look at the pairs like GPP Chief, I haven't analyzed it really, but from my assumption, the market forms a peak formation, right? And you can clearly see from the D1 that it had formed a peak, traded away, came back right here and formed what looks like an M, all right? This is D1. And then from your H1 or H4, no, from your H1 instead. Yeah, we'll come to H4. From your H4, I'm not going to draw all this, but I'm going to start from here. From your H4, you have something like this. All right, something like that. So this move coming from my left-hand side is this whole move from down. So I've just shown you this. So the market decided to go up instead of finishing its move and going all the way down. It decided to rather go up there. All right. Yet on your H1, you have not only an M, but you have something that looks like this now, M go down, and then all of a sudden, something like that. And you're looking at it, you're like, what's really going on? What's going on is the market wants to, not only does it want this to be a V on D1, it wants it to be an M or a W. And I'm going to show you that in a second. It wants that to be an M or a W. So what it's going to do is it will work out that chart until it has taken out a lot of people before it moves. Maybe let's look at examples. I'm going to show you an example that I saw over the weekend. This is, yes, yes.
I don't want to. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
Yes, all right.
because you're explaining the time frame blending, I actually saw and kind of figured that out last week with the USD pairs. What I saw and what I started to trade and catch the peaks, your 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 W1 and your weekly time frames, the turning points. So the higher highs, higher lows, those turning points, they give you 4 hour peaks. So if
Yes,
you look
yes,
at
correct.
right, so if you look at like EU last week, and if you look at AU last week, you'll see the turning point for the peaks was weekly, like either support or weekly high. So that's what I mean.
Correct. Yes, 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 yes. Correct, correct. Let me show you something right here. All right. This is on volatilities, but it doesn't matter. It's the same concept. So, number one, you've got a peak formation right there. All right. At the bottom. A nice peak formation. I can even push my rectangle up to there, right? A nice peak formation. You have seen a W and you want to buy. And always buy from the lowest point going up or sell from the highest point going down. Anything that looks like it's trying to sell you dreams, this zooming on it, the market, after forming that, it moved away from the peak, then it pulled back right there, all right? And by pulling back like this, somebody could have said, oh, this is no longer a buy. But remember, you've analyzed, you've seen a buy, so just keep holding on, okay? Then the next thing that happens, the market pushes all the way up, that big move, and then you're like, oh yeah, that is actually buying now. And what happens next? The market pushes back down to the 50 EMA, but I want to show you something really important to the 50 EMA. And they're kind of like not touching the 50 EMA at all, but they're just playing around on top of it. And if you are setting rules for yourself, you know that if you're not interacting with what I want, then I'm not going to take this trade. If you're not touching the 50, okay, the EMA, the way I want, then I'm not going to take the trade because the dealer is simply fooling around. Now look at this. Someone could have taken a buy and left with the market, all right? And then after being in considerable good profit, then comes this candle right here. And this candle comes in force, going all the way down. I don't think this candle turned green at any moment, going all the way down until it reaches this point here. Now they are starting to interact with the moving averages. They're starting to touch them, all right? Something that they were not doing. And then they work out the setup and they move away. Now, let's go to a higher time frame and see what this madness means. Because you've got so many pullbacks and it's not clean. But if you, okay, if you look at it from this way, you've got all these W's, M's, M's, and I know they get kind of confusing. You don't really know what's really happening. And when a chart becomes like that, always check your higher time frames. Now look at your 4-hour time frame. Your 4-hour time frame comes a little bit cleaner. Now you still have your peak formation in that spot, but this time around, you've got a nice W formation. All that noise that you saw there, it's gone. And instead of you having those too many pullbacks, you've just got price holding at a certain range for a long time, holding right there, even though it increased there, decreased a little bit, and then holding on there. So you probably maybe entered right here and you're still holding, but they're not coming to your entry. And then look at what happens here if you zoom in a little bit closer. Now, those candles that were not touching the 50 are these ones right here. And they were not touching the 50, they were just playing around on top of the 50. Now, they issued that red candle right there and pushed all the way up to the 50. Now, this could have scared a lot of people to think, oh yeah, the market is selling. There is not even any EMA close by to show that, oh, maybe the market reset or anything whatsoever. Not even. And you are convinced higher time frames are saying this is supposed to be a buy. And what do? They work around the 50 and then they pull off. So you need to keep check of your higher time frames. Your higher time frames are always important. And again, like we always say, if you look at it, this is where the market was playing around, right there. First things first, they issued you with a W right there. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. They issued you with a W right here. And then they issued you with another leg right there. Probably somewhere there. And then gave you that small pullback and then pushed all the way there. Then what did they do next? They came back to the ID 50. Now, if I'm putting arrows like this, it actually does make sense and it's even more clear. So you'll see that first things first, where they gave you the ID 50 is actually the neck of this W right here. That is what they are doing right there. But you will not see this until you switch on to higher time frames. Now let's go to our currencies. For starters, remember we said we want to do 3 of them. Okay. And look how nice charts look like when you don't have indicators. And I'm not saying don't use indicators, but this is how nice charts look like when you don't have indicators. Sometimes you need them like this so you can actually figure out what's going on. And then when you put indicators, everything else becomes so much easier for you. But if I put a box on this nice M right here, all right? This is USDGF daily. And then I click on 4 hour. Remember, this is a nice M, very clear. Then I click on 4 hour. Look how your 4 hour looks like. And I can tell you, some people might have just given up on this. All right, let me go back to D1 and then try and shorten it a little bit. We just want to try and catch that bit of M only. Now let's go to the H4. All right. Now look at what's going on. So you've got a nice M on D1, but this time around here, you've got an M, a W, and an M. Is that making sense? You've got an M, a W, and an M. But on D1, you just got a single M. So that's what happens. That's what we call time frame blending, because the market is working out a higher time frame peak formation. Remember, peak formation sometimes on higher, they want to work out that nice M. So instead of sometimes giving you a V pullback and pulling out, they want to actually give you an M, just like smaller time frames. They want to give you that safety trade to make so you'll be caught up and say, I don't really understand what the market is doing, but that's exactly what the market is doing. And I can guarantee you, if you come say, okay, let me move my box and put it here. All right. Your first pullback right there, that looks like an M right there. Looks like an M. Your peak formation is this one, right? It does look like a V, but let's see how it looks like on the 4 hour time frame. When you come to the 4 hour time frame, look at how it looks like. It is a V on D1, but it is an M on H4. All right. And that M on D1 is actually an MW and an M on H4. I don't know if this is making sense, guys. So you need to keep check of your higher time frames. What is my higher time frame doing? That is what's going to help you. Let's go to H1 and see how H1 looks like, because most people are always uh, stuck on H1 and they don't look at higher time frames. Now, H1 will tell us how everything looks like, and then you see how it will be even so difficult to trade if you were trading on H1. Hopefully we get this soon. See, it was taking me just a few swipes to the right, but this time around, where is it? It's taking me forever now. Actually, I went to my left side. Or maybe we might not even, oh, right there. Now, let's look at the peak formation first. Look at your peak formation. Remember what you said, D1, V, H4, M, H1, M, W, M, right there. So you actually want to trade this pair, and you are right there on your peak formation, all right? And the first thing that you see is definitely there's going to be an EMA right here. You will see in a second. You want to trade from here, all right? And you're on a sell. The first thing you see, you mark, okay, I'm on level 1. And then you see, oh, the dealer came back to my level 1. And then you put more sell positions. That's a good thing. And then you get here and the dealer comes back, hits you on break even and closes the market right here. And then the dealer comes back again to the top. Now, remember, you're on level 3, right? And yes, the market might probably be resetting. You never know. So what do you want to do? You want to wait and see first. And then the next thing you see, the market has shown you that nice information. This is the time to then look into your higher time frames and see, are we forming a peak somewhere? Or this is just going to continue buying, you know? And immediately when you saw that you're forming a peak somewhere, then you can take the trade. Now, let's look at it this way. All right, I'm going to put in moving average here. Okay. Where is my moving average? Right there. I'm going to put M at 200 in black. All right. Look at that. Like I said, your EMA 200 should be somewhere there, and it is exactly dead right there. You are on level 3, you push into level 1, and then you come to a complete stop, and the market pulls back on the same day and closes right there. It starts the second day and pulls back again and closes there. That should signal to you that something is happening. Or maybe you're on a sell and you've been taken out twice on a stop loss. That should tell you that something is happening. And you need to keep check of your higher time frames and check your higher time frames. What are higher time frames doing? Is it a sell? Is it a buy? What's going on? What's the bias? All right. And now all you have seen, I'm going to try to be realistic. All you have seen is a reset. And at this point in time, we all don't know what's going on, but we suspect that either this reset continues the trend, but after counting levels on this side, we can clearly see that D1 D1 is actually on level 3. So it has pushed 3 times. So why would it continue going up? Like, what does it want up there? Surely there's nothing. So it means it's supposed to turn around. So I'm waiting to see what will happen when I get back again to my peak formation. And then you see the next day, the market starts to trade going up there. And then at New York, they issue you with an information, right? Probably you don't trade it, you just let it go. And then the following day, they issue you again with an information. That's when you're like, no, 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 I'm risking this. I want to see what's going to happen. That's how you actually keep in touch with your higher time frames, all right? And you take a trade and you move all the way down up to where we're going to get to a second. Now, look at how big this move is. Look at how big this move is, all right? And keep in mind, this is probably 2 cyclists, okay? And you're counting your levels, everything is all good. And then all of a sudden, you get to this point where the market issues you with a peak formation, and then it decides to start buying. And then you're like, okay, the good question is, for how long are you going to be buying? Yeah, I like it this way. For how long are you going to be buying? Remember what we said on D1, this whole thing is a VM, all right? But on H4, it is an M and M. No, 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 no. Hold on a second. It is an M. W, M, W, M, like that. That is how it looks like on your H4. I can't even draw the H1 because we're going to spend the whole day drawing here. But you already saw that your H1 here is showing you this, all right? So your H1 here is actually going to be hips and hips. So first things first, your H1, because your W showed you a W here at this spot, your H1 shows you peak, reset, peak, then up, and then it starts to work out peak, reset, peak, then it comes back down. Same thing, peak, reset, peak, then it goes back up, peak, reset, peak, and then it goes down. You see? That is what you are seeing here and here. Okay? So you're seeing all this happening there and you're asking yourself, what is the market doing? Are we going to go up? Now, let me erase this and let's look closely on our candles. Now, looking closely on our candles, this is what we see. First things first, when the market issues you with something like this, always know there's something happening on the higher time frames. Definitely, there's something happening on the higher time frames, all right? And then you are on a sell, remember, on H1 and on D1, it's showing you a big peak formation. And I can confirm to you, if you entered a trade on H1, and it is also by coincidence a peak formation on D1, and it's a V type of a peak, or okay, any type of a peak, it's not coming back anytime soon there. That's one thing that you should know. Or even if it's going to reset, it will take you ages for that market to reset. So when you see all this playing out around, you have nothing to worry about. Now, the market pushes you up the cycle. Okay, sorry about that. Pushes you the cycle all the way up there. And then you probably say, oh yeah, maybe I'm going to sell. Now, let's go back to D1 because I'm going to show you something. We go back, all right, maybe let's start with H4. All right. Your H4, remember you are on a sell here, okay? And your market is now here. And at the back of your mind, okay, not all of us are swing traders, yes, of course, but at the back of your mind, you're thinking, maybe this thing might continue and take me out. Let me take my small profits and run away, all right? Fair enough. That's understandable. But the market showed you level 1, it showed you level 2, and then it stopped there. All right? Yes, you can even maybe try and count and say, like I said, there are variations to counting. You can count and say, this is my level 1, this is my level 2, this is my level 3. Still, fair and fine, all right? But you saw a peak formation on D1. Never forget that. You saw a peak formation on D1. So whatever happens on these smaller time frames, it doesn't matter. They will always trade away from the bigger time frame peak formation. So let's say you see a W there on 4-hour, and now you're asking yourself, all right, is this a reset? Definitely not. You are far away from the 200 EMA. There's no way you are going to reset from that point. So what's going to happen? The market will continue selling. Yes, it will pull back on you, but for how long is what matters. And definitely, because they moved a considerable amount away from the peak, it will be hard for them to go back again there. The only reason they would go back again there, it simply means there is a W1 peak formation. And if that happens and you manage to catch that move, then it means you are in for a yearly ride, a whole year selling the pair, because W1 is actually forming a bigger thing. All right. I always say keep a notebook to know where you are in the market. And this gives you an idea of what higher timeframes are doing. And when I say keep a notebook, I'm not saying this because I want you to, find trades and trade them and whatnot. No, this is for your own good. You're trying to help yourself see where the market is at a certain point in time. Now, let me leave this example and give you another one. All right. So this one, we talked about it and we saw the M formation. Maybe say we want to trade this point right here. that looks like a V, all right? And remember, we haven't seen any of this. The only thing we saw is that push upwards. So we haven't seen the downward movement, all right? Now going to our H4, hopefully we get there sooner. Right, there we go. Going to our H4, look at how clumsy your peak formation is. This whole peak formation right there, a whole lot is happening there. And remember, it's an M on D1, so it means it's 2 M's and 1 W on H4. That's why it's good to mark your charts. Like I said, mark your charts. It will help you to know where you are. But if you come every day and you see a blank chart, you will never know what V. But on H4, it does look like an M. All right, you've got an M there with a shorter leg, okay? Oh, someone might argue and say, oh no, that doesn't look like an M. Fair enough, it doesn't. But from the D1 perspective, that looks like a V. Yes, you might have a very small thing right there, something like that, right? To show you that this is probably a second leg, maybe not, but yeah, it is what it is. Still, if you move to the H4, you should be able to see that spot right there, which is what I just marked right there. Now, let's look at H4. I'm going to make this smaller. So on H1, and we see how H1 looks like. H1, hopefully it's on the right-hand side. Yeah, it is. Now, look at H1. Not only do you have an M formation that we saw on higher time frames, but this time around you have a very nice represented peak formation that then decides to sell down nicely as well, and you get to that point right there. And then the next thing that you wait for is a reset. Now, how do they issue a reset? Number one, they give you an M, a W, and an M. All right. Now, what does that tell you? It tells me that on H4, forget what I just drew now and focus on what I'll draw next. All right. It simply means on H4, they issued you with a V, a V, a V, and a V. Look at that. Yet on H1, it is actually a W there. All right. But on H4, that's a V. So what does it mean with D1? It means with D1, again, forget what I just drew on my left-hand side and focus on what's coming next. It simply means on D1, they issued you with that. So you see how simple it is. You are following your time frames. Keep in check with the higher time frame. And I know this is hard to see in real time, but you should be able to gather it. Now, let's go to GPP Chief. We've already wasted an hour of our time, but sorry, guys, and thank you for your patience. Let's get into the charts now and see what happens. And again, when we analyze these pairs, these are not the only pairs that we're going to analyze for the week. Even if we don't analyze some of the pairs that you guys want, we'll still get to them soon enough on over the week. All right. So don't worry yourself. All right. I'm just waiting for my template to load there. So let's look and see what's happening here. I'm gonna remove pretty much all indicators. Now, don't get me wrong, you need indicators, guys. They'll help you, but remember, our rule is always use price first to find out what's going on, and then use indicators to confirm, all right? Now, here's a chart without indicators. Let's go to D1, okay? Now, on D1, we have a big M. That looks like it's got a small W right there and something like that. Now, if you go to W1, Yeah, so that was a W. I saw it very well. So you see what they did? They prolonged the first leg, gave you a W in the middle, and prolonged the second leg so that it then comes out as something like this. Now, guys, don't be fooled anyhow. This is a sell. No matter how you like it, this is a sell. There's no any other way. Even if I come to my neck right here, you see, they've touched that neck right there, and that's enough for them. And now you know how fun it is with the market. First things first, they closed that as a red candle. And this is W1. They literally closed it as a red candle. But on H1, all there is confusion. We don't know where we are. But on W1, they know they issued a red candle. So what's going to happen next? They're going to issue another red candle still and move away. But because we don't know, so we are just like, oh, what's going on here? What is the market doing? But they left a red candle. What they did to you to fool you was, first things first, they created a peak, right? And then they came down, put back on it. And what they did was, on this current candle, they sold earlier in the week. They sold earlier, probably Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sold. And then they started pulling back maybe Thursday, Friday, and ended right there. And that got you confused because you thought, well, this is no longer it. But on a higher time frame, it is still a sell. All right, it is still a sell. So don't get confused. Now let's go to D1. What is D1 doing? D1 then issues you with green candles, but it doesn't matter because we are seeing a peak on W1. Now, your W1 probably started from this candle right here, and the high of the candle is probably that one, and the low is this one. How many are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So it started market open price here, and then it went up, like I said, and then it sold all the way down, and then it bought all the way up, and then it pushed up, and then it closed right there. So from your trading, from your candlestick point of view, that's the candle that we saw outside there. Open, stop and up, new trend, which is the correct move, and then pull back as a week reversal, and then consolidate for the week. Anyone who knows what this is something that we see every day. All right. Asian box, stop hunt, sell through the week, midweek reversal, and reverse and close the week in a consolidation. We see this all the time. And that's exactly what that candle did right there. That's exactly what it did. I don't know if someone is getting it. So you don't need to be confused. Like, what's really going on? It is a sell. There's no any other way. It is a sell, right? Let's go to H4. Okay, before we go to H4, on H1, what we see is a nice M right there, right? And then we see that candle which just got price rejected right there, all right? But what we see is an M. So it means if we're seeing an M on H4, what are we supposed to see? Remember, we're dealing with price only without candles. We're supposed to see something like this, okay? Now, going to H4, this is what we see. H4, M, W, M. And then we sold. Then now price comes back, but where does it go to? Price does not get to the previous high. There is our first high, and there is our second leg high, all right? We can even put the second leg of the second leg high right there. Price does not reach that point, all right? And then it started selling towards the end of the week, the last 3-4 hour candles, right? No indicators, nothing. All you can see is just price, okay? So what does it mean? That to me means we are on a sell, okay? Now, let's go to H1. This is where all the confusion is on H1, okay? And I'm not going to draw the M's and W's because they're going to be too much. But we formed a peak there, came back down, went back to the same area, came back down, and went back there. But this time around, we just went back once. Remember what we said about catching peaks? Peak formation, trade away, come back to the range, kill it. All right? Now, what happened here? Peak formation, trade away, break structure, come back to the range. What do? Sell it. All right? That's exactly what needs to be happening. So all you need now is your market, because you are trading your 15 minutes time frame. All you are waiting for is probably to see the market match that high there, number one. Number two, or test the neck of that M, whichever is closer and whichever is easy to reach. But all you want to see is the market to do that. Okay? Like I said, it can either be the neck, or it can be the peak there. And some people love to use what do you call this? Fibonacci retracement. I always see people using Fibonacci replacement. I used to use this back, but not now because it's not that accurate, but doesn't matter. If I put it right here, you see, that's why I say it's not accurate, because this is a new move of the week. But if I put it right there, yes. So that means anything beyond 50, because you've got 0, 50, and 100. So anything beyond 50 is where I'm going to look for a setup. So in this case, that's definitely the same area. But yeah, don't use this more often. But yeah, I'm expecting in the neck area or to retest the same high. So what I'm going to wait for is the setup. Once I see that setup, then I take it. Now look at this. Yes, you might not be having all your levels the way you want them, but the dealer is issuing you with M15 peak formations, push 1, push 2, push 3, form that, come back, and there should be a 200 EMA here. I'm telling you, there is a 200 EMA there, and then the dealer will redo the same thing. All right, we're going to add an EMA in a moment and see what happens. All right, now let's see. Nothing interesting on the left-hand side. What we want to see is that side there. So now let's put an EMA and see what happens. Or maybe let's add all the moving averages. All right. Where is my moving average? 3 times. Is it this one? That's not it. Is it? No, 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 no. That's not it.
Coach, that is
Sorry
the
about that.
one that we
Oh,
have. Yes, that's
that
it. That's it.
one. I want this one. Yeah. Input, yes. That's what we're looking for. All right. Oh, man. Control I, moving averages. I'll delete this one and then edit that one. I want to get the arrows off. False. Okay. Right. So remember what I said? There is your 200 EMA right there. Right there. All right. So the market just opened now. And don't even think that this market will sell now. It will definitely buy and go back up there. It has pushed 3 levels up on the M15. And M15 levels, they don't you don't have to worry about boundaries. All right. So they're pushing up there. Then the next thing they will do, then they will push down. There's something that I want to remove here, which makes this looks a little bit clumsy. I need to remove EMA5. I don't use EMA5, to be honest. How can I remove this? Okay. Let's see what happens. Oh, man. Yes, good. Yeah, EMA5 was making it look like very clumsy. All right. So this is the 200 EMA, and I'm expecting that now going to the H1, all right? What is really happening on H1? So on H1, we are still in the same area. Nothing is changing, all right? We've touched the 200 EMA before, and we've went back and formed a peak, all right? We didn't take out the previous peak. Sorry about the lines on top there. We didn't take out the previous peak. So that should show you we have something happening on higher time frames. And this time around, again, to add on this, remember we saw this M on D1 and the V on W1. Now look at this. Not only did H1 give you M's, but it was giving you triple hits. Like it was making sure it hits 3 times. All right? It hits 3 times all the time. Wherever it gets to a peak formation, it hits 3 times. The reason why it's doing that is so that H4 will look like this. And then D1 will look like this. And then V1, W1 will look like that. That's all that is happening here, guys. Don't get confused. That's why I'm saying if you get confused, get the indicators off and let's look at the price itself. Then we can look at indicators later. All right. Now, that is exactly what you're looking for. When we've seen that M15 needs to come back to around that zone there, either that one or that one. And then after that, we anticipate that on H4, right? Let's go to H4. On H4, all we'll be doing is just to touch and come back down. So we're not really doing anything there. We're just going there to touch. So probably the next 4-hour candle will just touch there, form a peak, and then just go down, like as if nothing happened. And remember that 200 EMA that we used to talk about last time when we were saying, it's still too far, blah, blah, blah. Whatever price is doing here, it's pulling that 200 EMA closer. It's pulling it closer and closer and closer. That makes our reset even more effective. Or you've got this big M and this big M. I'm not drawing the W's, and you expect something like that there. All right. Going back to D1, still the same thing. We're expecting this candle right here to drop down to sell. So that is it, guys. I don't know if this makes sense to you. And that is my expectation. And Emma was just to confirm the 15 minutes time frame, but I haven't used any indicators. All we're seeing is just price playing around there. Maybe let's try and put one last time before we move to another pair, a TDI, and let's see what the TDI will do. I'm not sure if it's the one that I'm using or this one is different. Anyway, whatever. Let's see what happens. All right. So from the 4-hour time frame, number one, our MBL is starting to face down right there. So we expect H4 to follow. All right. and already our price line has crossed the red line. So immediately, as soon as the red line comes below the market baseline as well, then it means we'll be in business, right? From the D1 perspective, look how interesting this is. From the D1, our market baseline is facing down. Remember what I said. If you get a peak formation, right, and your market baseline flat, so even if you're looking at H1 and be like, oh, now it's selling on me, blah, 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 don't be worried. Just keep waiting. Keep waiting because your MBL will not easily turn from the D1 time frame. It will keep on holding right there. From the W1 time frame, this is what you have. Now, look at the W1 time frame. It's actually facing up. The reason why it's facing up, it is because your market has been on a buy for a very long time. You see what I was talking about? This whole sell that happened here, it didn't even move the MBL an inch. Like your MBL is still facing up. That's what happens with bigger moves on bigger timeframes. But we know that we are coming from a sell, and we've been selling this pair for a very long time. And we know we are coming from a sell, and we're expecting the market to continue pushing down. And the fact that they've shown us a reset on the 200 EMA on day one, then that means we expect the market to continue selling. All right. If you check your monthly time frame, your market has been selling for a long time. And again, this is what you have. All right. You've got your shark fin there, you've got the other leg inside, and then you've got the other leg. And somebody might say, oh, maybe what if the market bounces there and goes up? Yes, that might happen, but that's a long-term move. It's not happening tomorrow. It's a long-term move, something that will take ages before it happens. So you can't then say, I'm not taking this trade on a monthly time frame because I'm seeing an MPL bounce. Even if the market sells all the way up to the bottom there, for you to see that bounce on the monthly time frame, it will take ages. That's one thing that you need to know. You don't have to fear anything, guys. You don't have to fear anything. So this to me is a sell. I'm not expecting a buy on this. If you buy this, it will be very catastrophic, to be honest with you. All right. Anyways, we've stayed too much on this pair. Let's look at another pair. What's the next pair we're looking at this time around? Someone else will have to speak, not me.
Gold.
All right. What's the next pair?
Gold.
Remember, we said we want in. Yes.
Gold.
Gold. Oh, gold. All right. So who wants to do gold? Let me see. Where is gold? Who wants to do gold?
Okay, I can try that, coach.
Okay, you love gold, yeah. All right,
That's what I trade always. That's my baby.
I see, yeah. You love gold, someone loves ODUSD. I like that, yeah. Let's go.
Okay, starting from this H1, from that 800 moving average, we want to start from the recent peak formation, which is starting from the low. It gave us a push up. I think, let me mark from here, sir. So it gave us a nice W formation here, and the market push, range, push, and range over there, and it came back and they gave us the last one here, which I can see there, but they refused to break this edge by coming down. They refused to do that, so they still extended it down, pushed to the top. Then they gave us this, and later they break it here, and they came here, which I look for sell here, and Later, the market dropped down here and came back and pushed me out of the market, hit all my stop loss. Then they gave me another W there and also put it down. Then they push, they do, which is I was looking at now. Can we now go to 4 hours time frame to see? Because I've learned from the coach of all coaches. So can we go to 4 hours time frame to see what is really happening? Why I
Time
think
frame.
that? Yeah, from 4 hours time frame, we can see. Can coach help me to zoom in a little bit?
All
Zoom it
right.
out. Okay. So now from 4 hours time frame, they are giving us this. They push it back and they gave us this again. And they gave us this again, which means we can go to higher time frame because I was disturbed before. So let's go to D1 to
Okay,
see.
D1.
So now from D1, from our D1, I can only see this, which means the market is still looking like it wants to sell. If I look from this side right now, the market push, it came back here, looking like it reset here, but 1, 2. So meaning that from here, this is what I now resorted to, meaning that from here they push, they push, they push, which they came back to reset here and give us this. They push, they push, and I was expecting them to even give us a little bit, but they didn't give to us. So I resorted that I'm looking for a sell formation on this gold. That's what I resorted to.
All right. Thank you very much for that. And again, I'm just trying to be realistic as much as possible, guys, so you can learn one or two things. And as I said, if you feel these indicators are not helping you, then get them off, all right? Now, let's look at price itself. Okay, so first of all, dealer came in from this direction and formed a peak formation there. You've already counted levels, so I'm not going to do that. So the dealer formed the high there. And what the dealer did, he pushed down, went back up, and did this for like 4 or 5 times, and still never took the high, all right? And if you look at it from a 15 minutes perspective, you can actually see that on the 15 minutes, you are having clear pushes, you see? Clear pushes.
Yeah.
And then you get there, all right? You're having clear pushes. I don't know if these can be clear right here or not, but it looks like we've got 1, we've got 2, we've got 3. Then we've got a reset, we've got 1, we've got 2, and we've got 3. All right. And then we come back down 1, 2, 3. And then again, we do the same thing again. We've got 1, we've got 2, and we've got 3. And then this is 1. Then we come back up here and then we sell. So you can see that your 15 minutes time frame is actually pushing those moves, right? And again, we're still tapping the high. And if we go to the 4-hour time frame, the 4-hour time frame is actually showing us that we're supposed to be selling, and we haven't taken out any high. Unfortunately, gold does not have any price on the left-hand side to, refer with to. To refer to. So you can only deal with what you're looking at. But from this, for me, it is still a sell. We're not taking out that high. We're just playing around it. But the nice thing is we did drop on Friday and close the market right there. So what we are anticipating, we want to see the market today pretty much come back to that spot right there where we have the neck, not just the neck all the time, guys, not the neck all the time, but this is your first point of call when you want the market to reverse the neck. And let me say something before I talk about gold. When the market gives you an M, all right, it comes back to the neck, all right, and then goes away. Your next neck is this one. I don't know if that makes sense. So you've got that neck there, and you've got that as a neck too. All right. Not all the time, but most of the time, the market will always revisit that neck right there before it goes away. All right. It's just a way of retesting those highs and lows when the market is moving away. So you kind of know where to expect something in the market. Just like right here, you can see the market tapping the high there. You can see the market tapping the high there. So every time when the market is going in a certain direction, it will always revisit those highs. And again, like I said, it won't happen every time. This here, you didn't see it. It didn't happen. But you're seeing it right there when the market is moving away. So those are things to sort of look at when you're expecting where the market is going to reverse next. So right here is where I'm expecting the market to come and make a setup and then sell. Now, do we have the 50 EMA anywhere close here? I'll probably think so. Let's see. Where I put my box there, that's where I expect my 50 EMA to be. All right, 50 EMA. I'm gonna choose this and then click OK. See that? That's exactly where my 50 EMA is. Exactly where I'm expecting the peak to be. That's where my 50 EMA is. And if I add my 13 EMA, you'll see that there's already a crossover right there as well. All right. You don't dream these things, guys. They happen all the time. Okay. I'm gonna use this one. Click. See? You already have a crossover there, right there, to show you that your peak has been locked. Now let's go to the 15 minutes time frame. What are we expecting? All right, what are we expecting? Let's put the 200 EMA. So we see the 200 EMA around that box there. All right. Again, trend, moving average, 200. I'm gonna use black this time. And then click OK. Look at that, the 200 EMA in that box there. So what are you expecting? You're expecting a type 1 of a setup as soon as the market opens, and then a sell. So what are you supposed to be doing now? Go and have some tea, play with your friends, or you're sleeping if you're supposed to be sleeping, and just wait for the market to play out. Unfortunately, for some of you, you're not going to see this. But for me, I see all sessions of the market. So that's a good thing. So the New York session, I'll be wide awake because it's during the day. All right. That's the advantage of living on this other side of town. So that's it, guys. You're expecting a sell there and around that area. Already, number one, you know the direction on higher time frames. Number two, you know where your market is supposed to turn around. Number three, you know the kind of setup that you're looking for. So you have everything documented. So what do you do next? All you can do is wait for the market to play out. If the market decides to then trade back to the peak formation, do not worry yourself. Just hold on. Just let it be. All right. Let it be. Because you know that there is no 200 EMA on site to show you that, oh, no, I'm resetting and I'm going to continue buying. So just hold on and let the market be. Just leave it as is. The market will show you what it wants to do. And already you can see here, for me, it's already broken the 200 right there. It's been retesting on the 200. Every time it comes to it just tests it. But this time around, it has broken it and crossed. And now it's trying to trade right back into it. And I shared this chart on Friday. Someone could have taken this setup, you know, it was a very good setup. And again, for learning purposes, You want to put your Asian box. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, depending with what time your broker starts. That's your Asian box right there, 15 minutes. Look at that, your Asian box, and that is your setup right there. Your entry right there. And you're done, right? Okay, now we've done the second pair, and because we don't have time, we're not going to do the third one. So keep in mind GBP Chef and Gold, but these are not the only pairs to trade. I'm gonna send more as we go. Again, if you have some that you want us to do, you just let us know. Send your thought first on the group, and then from there we'll then see how I can assist you if I know where it's going. And again, I don't know everything, guys. I do not know everything, but I'm very patient and I start the market. I spend hours on the market. That's what I do almost literally every day, because it refreshes me, you know, to know that this is what's happening. So mark your charts, guys. Mark your charts. I don't know how I can say this. Mark your charts and make your charts look as neat as mine, the one that I showed you. Right here. Mark your charts, guys. It will save you 50% of all the struggles that you are in. All right. Just by marking your charts and showing that, oh yeah, I expect the market to pull back, and then the market does pull back. You know, even if I'm not trading this pair, but I have joy in that the market did what I want it to do. You know, that's the joy that I have, and I love it. And at least I know that, okay, this is a winning. I'm going to do the next one as well. I spend time on the charts, guys. And that's, you can say, oh, no, maybe he knows a lot and all that. It's because I spend time on the charts. And that is exactly what you need to do. All right. Now let's do volatilities. We're just going to do probably just one pair, because I know some people are supposed to be sleeping now. And I don't want to upset people's husbands and wives. So we're just going to do one volatility pair. And again, pay attention. What volatility pair do you want us to do? First come, first serve.
100S.
100S.
100.
All right.
Yes.
You got me right there. Okay, 100S. And that's the pair that we started with. I'm sure you were not there when we were
Yeah, I
marking all
wasn't.
this right
Sorry, I
here.
joined late.
Yeah, no, it's all right. Okay, so again, same concepts, guys. You want to trade, go to your monthly time frame, all right? But you're not going to take trades from there. And again, these indices, they don't have so much data, which makes it difficult to trade them or analyze them. Like, for example, right now I'm trying to zoom my chart and I can't see anything, but all I can see is the market has been selling for a long time. Well, that's all I can see. So there's nothing we can do on the monthly time frame. D1 time frame. Again, if I look at it, like, I'm not able to zoom to see what exactly is going on right there. So another thing that I usually do, but this is not going to help you. You can use TradingView for these derivative indices, but you actually need a derivative account for you to use the TradingView on derivative. But as you can see, whatever is happening down there, I'm just seeing small candles, and I don't want to make assumptions. All I know is the market sold right here. All right. That's all I know. Like I said, we don't have enough information and we can't zoom. It's hard to zoom. So that's all you have. So you cannot work with what you have, right? All you can see there is the small candles happening there, or there are big candles. I don't know, but we were selling. All right. So let's go to D1. Probably D1 will start getting a little bit clearer. Now here's D1. And again, we look to our left shoulder and we see a very big, massive peak formation that we're seeing from W1. Again, look at how massive this is and look at how it is from W1 perspective. Look at how tiny it is, how tiny and nice it is. It is in head and shoulders, nice shoulder, nice head, nice shoulder. And this is a retest of the same structure as well. If you go to D1, you see a different story altogether. Okay, I'm gonna try and zoom for now. On D1, you see a big move. Now, this is not gonna help us. It's too far in the future. And then we come here. So the last thing that happened on this chart was we marked a low, right? We marked a low right here. And even if we were selling currently, we never got to this low, right? So that to me is a peak formation, I suspect. Remember the short that I sent on YouTube recently about higher time frames when I said you got situations where it's like this, right? You've got something like this, right? Maybe this is coming from somewhere else, okay? And then on a higher time frame, guys, because there is considerable gap between that and that, okay? You cannot say this is a W. It is not a W. This is a V. Why am I saying that? I'm trying to explain something that you see here, this right here. There is a considerable amount from the previous swing low to where you've got that part there. So there's no way you can call this a W. The moment you do that, you are depriving yourself of a whole level. Yes, you can call it a W if you want. It's still fine, right? But always know that there is a whole level of a rise. Because if you say this is a W and then you start counting your levels from here, you'll be surprised and caught out of action when you find the market starts to issue you the same thing on the other side. Then you're like, what's going on right here? And the market starts to give you the same thing again, you know? So that move away from the V peak and then a pullback or a test, it's no longer in the peak. It's now a level on its own. You can count it as level 1 on higher time frames. Yes, you can say I'm seeing a W. Fair enough, but count this as a level. We can only count a W when we are actually in the same area. But on higher time frames, they are very sensitive. If they move away and then they do something like this, go and watch the short that I shared on YouTube and you see how I was counting levels on D1. That's exactly how you count your levels, all right? That's exactly how you count your levels. Sorry? So then you know, yes. Then you know that you already have 3 levels. Don't start from here and say, this is my peak formation. Even on forex currencies, don't do that. The moment you do that, you are lost in the market because you have 2 levels and then you'll see the market reverse. And the next thing you'll be like, what's going on right here? If the legs are equal or they are close, at least, maybe even something like this, then that's something we can consider. Or here, I would have expected the market to sell maybe to the previous neck. Yeah, that would be a good way of identifying it, all right? For example, sorry about that. For example, you've got a neck, sorry, a V, and then you've got something like that, all right? On the lower time frame, which in this case would be an H4, obviously you'll have something like this. So you'll have something like that. See your W forming on the neck of the previous W. That I can call a W on D1. But if there is a very huge amount, now don't deprive you of a level, guys. It is a level, all right? Now, back to our 100S. And again, the information on the left-hand side is not going to help us, but we know we have a peak formation there, right? So we want to understand what's going on. So this being our peak formation, I'm just going to extend my box all the way up to there, all right? Now, you are then tempted to call whatever is happening here a second leg. See what happened? Market pushed up to there and then came back down. Now, does anyone recognize what we were just sharing just now? Your 50 EMA on the higher time frame is a 200 EMA on the smaller time frame. Remember this. If you watch the video, you will know about this. So the dealer forms a first leg, goes up, forms this, and then comes back down. Okay, whether it's a V or it's an M, it doesn't matter. But what matters is you've got your EMA 50 or EMA 200 on site right there. All right. So this becomes a reset. So that means this is a reset on H4. Because the 50 on D1 is a 200 on H4. Again, if you're confused about how this is possible, just go to a video on the website. You'll see where I talk about this. So the dealer gave you the first leg, all right? Went to the 200 EMA, whether gave you an M or V, whatever it is, and then is now coming down. So remember when I said this is not a leg, all right? Now look at how it's now coming down until he reaches that point. Now, reaching that point, if we are to put a box right here where he touched, definitely there's a neck there. If we go to the 4-hour time frame, there's definitely a neck right there. All right. 4-hour time frame.
Sorry, coach. When marking the neck, is it the whole candle that shoot out or what?
All right. Hold on a second. When you're marking the neck, there is your peak formation. I wanted to say yes, but if I say yes without you seeing me doing it, it will not make sense. All right, right there. That's the one. So your neck is that candle right there. That longest candle is your neck. So we want to see if it is going, if the other leg will be in that same spot. All right. Already I'm seeing candles interacting with it. Let me try and zoom a little bit. So you see that? So you can actually confirm this is a D1 second leg. You can actually confirm that. And again, if I go back to D1, look at that. Before they zoom it back on me. All right. Yeah, I want it to be this side. Yeah. See that? You've got a nice second leg there. So remember what the dealer did, V, M, and then coming back for a V. All right. So that means on H4, it is W, M, W, M, and then W, like this. On H1, I'm not going to draw it. On W1, it means it is like this. Oh, no, 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 no. So you're coming from that direction, and then you just went like this. Do you remember when we saw it on W1? When I was saying there's smaller candles right here everywhere? That's how it was looking like. Your second leg is not even there at all. It doesn't exist. You haven't even seen it. You haven't even seen that part there because it's a bigger time frame, right? But on D1, this is it. On H4, this is it. You're doing all this without any indicator. Price action first, all right? So now this being our second leg, so that means we are looking for buy setups at the moment. And where is our take profit? Our take profit at this point in time will be somewhere there to start off with. But that doesn't mean that's where it's gonna end. No, no, no. That's our take profit, but price can even break that there, depending on how long you wanna hold it. All right. So now moving back to H4, and our H4, we were talking about how the dealer formed a peak formation. So we're no longer worried about the left-hand side. We're dealing about how the dealer formed a peak formation. And then I'm just going to drag this box so that it doesn't become clumsy. So how the dealer formed a peak formation, and he is doing an ID50. So he just did, oh, I'll use a white pen. He just did that. So this is what he's doing now. So if you then go to the H1 time frame, so this is going to be a buy for a long time. At the moment, if you go to the H1 time frame, remember when I said I was expecting to see this kind of setup from the H1 time frame, right? And look at what happens. This is what confuses people and makes people blow account, or it hurts people. Instead of the 15 minutes time frame showing you a W, the dealer decides, I'm going to do that on the 1 hour, right? And now by doing that on the 1 hour, it will take a long time, because that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 candles, that's 12 hours of forming a W. And surely, even if you're waiting for this setup, you'll be like, I'm done with this. I'm out, 12 hours, because the dealer, instead of doing it on the 15 minutes, he decides to do it on the 1 hour. Look at what he did on the 15 minutes. He came down here, formed a W, and mixed it with an M, and came like that. I've been saying this the whole time, guys, since we started the Zoom meeting. Again, V, M, V. So what is H1 showing? Just a W. Now, why is it showing these Vs the same way they are on M15? He prolonged the move. He took more hours, and he put in so many candles in these Vs, and then he formed an M. He put in so many candles in these Vs before it goes up. That way, it will make a giant big W on a 1 hour, even though it's still Vs on M15. I'm sure by now you're tired of these Vs and Ws, guys. But that's generally it. So this is supposed to be a buy. And pulling up my TDI, this is how it looks like. And I'm expecting an MBL bounce here. I'm expecting an MBL bounce. I'm not saying take this trade, but there are two things that might happen here. Either you wait for this candle to close as a pin bar, and then the next candle will buy, or the next candle, or this candle closes halfway there, and then the next candle will buy. Or the dealer decides to come back and work out the 200. There's three things that you can do, all those three things, all right? But it's going to be a buy at the end of the day. I've been watching this since yesterday. It's going to be a buy at the end of the day. I didn't send the setup because it was dragging and dragging and dragging. And I thought, I can't send the setup. People will end up being in a loss because it's dragging. People don't have patience. They want things that will make them money there and there. So yeah, that's it, guys. We've already done 2 hours of Zoom, and I'm hoping you learned something very valuable. And any questions, guys, please make sure you ask them on Discord. Send as many questions as you can, not just about is this pair gonna buy or sell? I don't want those kind of questions. Yes, I do want them, to be honest. I do want those kind of questions, but I want the kind of questions whereby, why don't we have 3 pushes there on the M15? Why is the H1 showing me only 1 level and then it's pulling back? How do I see this is a reset, blah, 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 and all those kind of things. Those are the kind of questions that I need that can make me sit down and be like, okay, I'm answering this person, and I can give you as much knowledge as I can, because I can't exhaust the things that I know. There are some things that I can think of and be like, oh yeah, I discovered this in the market. Unfortunately, I never taught this to anyone. And now I try to teach you slowly, slowly. And then I'm like, I don't know if you'll understand it or not. So you really need to ask questions, guys. Ask questions and make your charts as neat as possible. I showed you, for those who were not there, I was showing everyone when we were starting that I mark my charts. This is how my chart. Imagine I predicted this buy move and look at how it's doing. And I never even traded this move, you know. This is another reset move. And to me, this trade failed. I was expecting this trade to be a sell. And what happened? It did sell there, but then it went back up. It failed. And then I had to look at higher time frames. I realized, oh, okay, that is now a reset, you know. And it's good. And I leave my boxes there until I understand what's going on. And as soon as I understand what's going on, then I'll be like, oh, that's good. So imagine I wanted to sell this bit and missed out this whole bit. Imagine, because I did not realize on the higher time frames that we still want to continue the trend. So those are the things that you'll be looking at and be like, oh, okay, this is it. So look at that. I did expect a buy there, and the market did buy. Now I need to find out, why is the market then going this way? All right. I did look at it yesterday and I was like, oh yeah, this is indeed a sell, but I need more information as to why it is selling. And someone even asked about it yesterday and I said, oh yeah, that one is indeed a sell. But now I need to find for how long it's going to sell. All right. Look at V10S. I was expecting this. I even sent this trade. It's quite unfortunate that it did not reach the area that I wanted. I wanted it to get to around that box there, but it didn't get there. And now I'm seeing an MBO bounce right there, which means this market might just continue selling. I don't know. I haven't checked the higher time frames, but it didn't get to my point where I wanted. So just let it go. Look at V10S. I was expecting a sell. I did put this and the arrow there. Look at that. A very massive sell. If I traded it, I could be in huge profits by now, but that's discipline. I don't trade everything, but I do analyze everything for my own learning purposes. But I will not take some of these trades and I will not even send you the setup. Sometimes if you ask me, I can tell you, yeah, it is this. Look at this, V25, a huge sell that happened there. Right from there, and I saw it when it was about to turn around. And I said, yeah, this is going to be a sell. And it did so. Counting my levels, 1, 2, 3. Oh, good. V250S. I need to find out why this is selling. This is one of my failed trades as well, because I looked at it and I'm like, this is supposed to buy. But then later on, I realized, consolidation too much. And the next thing is supposed to sell. And again, I was wrong, because this is the first push, that's the second push, and that should be the third push. So I got lured into thinking maybe this small thing here is actually a push, but it was not. This third push was coming. So I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, maybe it's supposed to be a buy. And again, I didn't trade it. V75, I've been sitting on this sell for a long time, just looking at it as well. So look at this. V75S, I predicted a turnaround there, and the market did turn around. Look at step index. That's a huge peak, a very nice peak right there. And I'm expecting this to sell all the way up to right there. Then we can reset and start buying. I knew this was gonna sell. Reason being, because we are in level 3, level 1, level 2, and back in level 3. So what are we expecting? A sell, guys. And look what happens. The market issues you with a V, a W, and a V. Where? At 200 EMA. Reset again. So the market has to come down. These things, you see them over and over again. Open your eyes, guys. You see them over and over again. Look at that. I expected a sell, but the market continued further away from me, but I expected this to then turn around from there. All right, so I need to find out why it extended. I didn't touch anything on 300, nothing there. And again, this is V50. I expected the market to turn around that area, but it went high up there. And again, I need to find out why it extended a little bit. What is it attracted to up there? V200, I didn't touch this. look at this. I did expect that the market was gonna sell as soon as it gets to the previous high there on the neck. I did expect it to sell, but I knew it wasn't going to sell for far too long, even though from higher time frames, it's showing me that this is a buy. So that's why I expected that this right here, the bottom, is a reset. So I'm expecting the market to continue going up. Boom 100, I'm expecting a sell. I'm just patiently watching and it's forming up. But again, I have a feeling this might continue going up because I've got peak there. I've got level 1, I've got level 2, and I've got level 3 there. So that to me, it looks like there's a hidden reset right here. So there's a possibility that the market might have formed a peak there on M15 and then wants to continue the move and give us 1, 2, 3 going up then. So I don't know. We'll see. And then again, crash 1000 and crash 500. I didn't do anything on these ones. This again, you see, this was so good. I actually even laughed when I saw it yesterday. I was like, someone might have bent their account on this trade because it was actually, looking something like this right there. So you have a very nice peak formation, and then you're sitting right there. And it confused me, and I was like, this can't be a buy. Reason why I said it can't be a buy is because I looked at the higher time frame. First things first, you issue me with a W, and then you issue me with an M. That's confusing to me. So I knew that the market is supposed to sell. Now, it will sell, but not for a long time, all right? Looking at H4, this is how H4 looks like. And in fact, sorry, it will sell for a long time because we're coming from a peak formation from a higher time frame. Look at how D1 is like. You could have taken your entry from the neck right there, all right? Nice one, go to your sell. But from the 4-hour time frame, there are two things. It's either we're resetting on the 50 or the market is gonna buy. But when I look at my TDI looks like we are coming to bounce on the 4-hour. We're coming to bounce on the 4-hour and then go back to the 50 EMA and give a proper reset. Because from the way it looks, the market never reached the 50 EMA or the 200 EMA. So I can't really call it a reset yet. And we are at an 800 EMA. So we're at an area where I expect it to be a peak formation. And again, we've pushed 1, we've pushed 2, and we've pushed 3. So we're at a peak formation now. So I expect us to work around that low and then start to buy. So this should buy probably today again. And these are not setups, guys. I'm just showing you what's happening in the market. This, I looked at it and I was like, it's supposed to sell, but unfortunately, with a peak like this, a peak that you can't see anything on it. Look at that. This is so clumsy from the dealer. You can't see literally anything here. I even tried to zoom to the D1 and I couldn't see anything. I'm like, you know what, I'm not attempting this because you can't even tell if there is a reset here or what. So I'll just let it be. And yeah, that is it, guys. So you can do anything on the market, mark your charts, have them ready every videos. Let's